John Murphy at Murtech.com with your daily news update. Okay, here we are on May the 14th in the year of our Lord 2026. I've got some great information for you tonight. Let's go ahead and jump over here on Murtech on Rumble. This is my Rumble channel. This is the video we're going over tonight, episode 1917. It says upcoming, but as you know, you are actually watching it. So let's jump into this. 1917. There we go. Let me close out the live chat there and slide down and click the show more button. We have information from Dan Bongino, Doug in Exile, Benny Johnson, and Wendy Bell Radio. But before we get into that, we got a text here or a comment here from Murtech Intel. I'm not sure who that is. Let me give him a thumbs up here. Okay, we also, Debbie BS reposted my episode 1916. Spartan Dukar commented on my daily news wrap-up. Uncloudy, Debbie BS, Cottonball 31, and Viper Senior commented on my episode 1916. CJ9 Baller 1004 commented on my extra 695C, and Debbie BS commented on my extra 698C. So let me give this a thumbs up, and I really appreciate you reposting my videos, and I enjoy reading your comments, and thank you so much for your feedback or for your support. So let's jump up here, and speaking of comment of the day, Uncloudy, I thought this was an interesting comment that he shared with us. Murtech, how come bartenders serving alcohol have more criminal liability than these judges? Makes no sense to me. This was one of these videos
because folks
we're talking about how these judges let off these criminals, no cash bail bond, and they go out and kill people. You know, you would think the judges would have a little bit of liability, responsibility with that, but I guess not. So if you're a bartender and somebody has too much to drink and drives home and gets involved in an accident and kills someone, the bartender that gave him those drinks can be held liable, okay? But a judge who lets a criminal off, a vicious criminal off with no bail bond, and he goes out and kills somebody, no skin off their teeth. It's a very good point, Uncloudy. Thank you so much. All right, well, let's jump back here and see what Dan Bongino has to say with what is going on here, episode 2515. Let's check this out. What's going on?
Has no agency theory, that Donald Trump has no control over his administration, and that there was somehow you can dance with the euphemisms all you want. There was a raid by the CIA, and I don't know what. There was 1,000 different words. You get the point. There was a raid by the CIA and the DNI's office. Listen, I've been out of government for a couple of months now, but I'm pretty sure like that would be a big deal, considering that the Central Intelligence Agency is run by John Ratcliffe, who's a really good guy and is a strong ally of President Trump's, and who's been in intelligence positions before. And I'm thinking to myself, having been in sit-downs at principal deputy meetings with Ratcliffe, Director Ratcliffe of the CIA many times, like, that's kind of weird. They're not even a law enforcement entity. Like, how would they raid or invade or steal away? I don't know what euphemism you want to use. How would they raid the DNI? Like, that's not even a thing. They don't have any law enforcement powers. You tell them to go pound sand. They don't have subpoena power. The CIA is an intelligence agency. It's not a law enforcement entity at all. So I saw this story yesterday, and thankfully the DNI's press secretary, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, this press secretary, Olivia Coleman, put out this tweet last night. This is false. The CIA did not raid the DNI's office May 13, 2026. But you start to wonder, like, how did this even get out there? Ladies and gentlemen, listen to your boy Dan. This is hard. I know this is not a comfortable show. I don't want to do shows like this because there are 1,001 things going on other than debunking fake news from inside our own tent. You're telling me, just to be clear, someone leaked this to the media. It made it out there into the media ecosystem. Someone did it. You're telling me Donald Trump's CIA raided or invaded or whatever unauthorized entry, I don't know, play the euphemisms games all you want, Donald Trump's DNI? Because those two entities are under the president. They're not legislative branches. They're branches of the executive office of the president. How many times do I have to tell you guys, please, listen to me. Listen, please. I'm trying to help. I'm only trying to help. This is all going to make sense over time. And I promise, even my harshest critics, and it's okay. It's okay. It's a republic. You're allowed to criticize, me included. Even my harshest critics, you're going to have to acknowledge I was right. I've been dealing with this for well over a year now. Anytime you hear a story about like rogue agencies and attacking each other, the FBI attacking the DNI, CIA, ABC attacking XYZ, it is all a derivative of the same. Donald Trump has no agency. There are people on the inside just taking control of this, weak guy and dog walking him around. Really? Really? Why would you be? One, it's bullshit. Capital B, capital U, LLSHIT, total bullshit. And secondly, even if it was true, which it is not, then resign. I don't understand. Like, just leave. I can't deal with it because the president's so weak. I can't deal. Why would you not? Why the leaks? Why using the media to do this all the time? And then backtracking later. Why would you do that? Maybe if you've been listening to my show, you already know the answer to that. Because as I've said to you, there are people out there already running a political operation from inside the White House against the MAGA movement, from inside the government right now. They're planning to run themselves, and all of a sudden you're seeing this plethora of news stories. Everybody's a hero. Listen to me, folks. What happened yesterday is a disgrace. What is the point of electing Donald Trump twice, probably 3 times? What is the point of electing Donald Trump if you really believe he has no control over his people? Why would you elect him? What evidence do you have of that? You really think Patel, Ratcliffe, Gabbard, they're all just running their own ops and the president doesn't, he's just, hey, hands off, just do your own thing, man. Like, it's like, whatever. It's like a syndicated TV show and something. We're just going to pay it and ship it off later. You guys do what you want. Watch reruns of Seinfeld all day. Folks, I'm getting tired of this shit. If you work for the EOP, the president and his executive office and in his cabinet, you're not there for you. You're not there for you. Do you have any idea how many times, whether it was anything from the pipe bomb case to Epstein to anything else, I wanted to respond to things that I knew were bullshit? It's not about you. You did not get elected. The president did. If you were a legislator, a United States senator, or a congressman or woman, yes, you are representing your state or your district. That is your job. Your job isn't to represent the White House. It's not. Hopefully you align with the agenda, but you don't have to. You're elected by a group of people within the United States, but a subset. The president is elected nationally. If you choose to work for him, you abide by the Constitution first, but it is generally assumed that you're aligning with the president's agenda or you wouldn't take the job. Folks, if Sibsley says another Joe Kent in the chat, Sib Sly. The president's overseas right now. President Trump is overseas right now, dealing with the most existential crisis of our time, that is the rise of the CCP in China. He's dealing with at the same time, our most dangerous, yet most important geopolitical rival. And they are a rival. Even they would quietly acknowledge that. They are not our buddies, okay? However, we can't ignore China. We can't pretend. And by the way, guy in the chat, I'm getting to them. Believe me, I'll get there when I'm ready to get there. There are people out there who still don't understand what's going on. You got China out there with nuclear weapons, an AI capability that could probably shut down at some point in the very near future, and is certainly a threat now to all kinds of systems in the United States. The president's overseas on the most important foreign trip he's ever going to take. And these leaks are going out in the media about, oh my gosh, the CIA raided the, oh, they didn't raid, didn't we? Didn't say raid, we said this. Why is this even in the fucking media? Sorry, folks, language alert. Why the fuck is this in the media? Sorry, not sorry. Are you shitting me, man? President Trump right now has got the entire globe's future in its hands. If we screw this thing up with China and it results in thermonuclear war or the shutdown of our entire freaking electrical grid due to a cyber attack, we're all effing dead, folks. And we've got bullshit leaks from a bunch of kids pissed off inside the administration that what? Their agenda is not being, you didn't get elected. It's not about your fucking agenda. It's not about you, man. You didn't get elected to shit. Here's Fox covering what's going on in China right now. We've only got international trade to deal with, the cyber threats, the Straits, nuclear weapons in Iran, Hamas terrorists, China's building next generation stealth fighters, like kind of important stuff. And this fucking kiddie bullshit's going on? Get the fuck out of here with that shit. I'm sorry, man. I hate this Republican on Republican bullshit, but this has got to stop. The endless leaking to the media. Oh my God, look at us. We're such heroes. Everybody's fucking us over. Really? And Donald Trump's White House has no idea? Here's a Fox News report this morning. I want you to just listen to this. It's about a minute about what's being discussed in China right now while kids are leaking bullshit to left-wing media people that love the distraction. Check this out.
They talked about expanding market access for American businesses into China. Remember, the president brought this delegation of 16 CEOs from different business and tech backgrounds. They also talked about wanting more progress on stopping the flow of fentanyl. That's something the president brought up. Now, the Chinese purchases of American agricultural products was also something that was brought up in these discussions. And President Xi expressed interest in purchasing more American oil to reduce China's dependence on the strait in the future. That's a really big takeaway. So we're going to focus on that as well. Also, both countries agree that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. And after reading through this readout, there was really nothing in there that said that China was going to help pressure Iran in any way to ending the conflict. We were wondering if that was going to come up.
Oil, nuclear weapons, Iran, industrial control systems, cyber attacks, world trade, starvation, World War III. Like, these are kind of important things. It's only the most important trip President Trump is ever going to take. I am not being hyperbolic. The history of the rock we call Earth, which I'm holding in my hands right now, if you're watching, is in the president's hands. If we screw this up, it will result in what Aisha Hasni and Fox just said, a conflict. Put up the Just the News article. A conflict. Turns out China threw a bit of a curveball, and Xi is now warning Trump of possible conflicts if Taiwan is mishandled. Leaders agree on the Strait of Hormuz. Folks, there's been a lot of amazing things that have come out of this trip already. However, one of the definite curveballs has been this unbelievably aggressive posture, I think surprised everyone, with President Xi now basically saying, hey, man, don't mess with us on Taiwan. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is a not new position, but certainly a more aggressive one. Do you have any idea what this conflict would look like between us and China? Folks, life as you know it will change forever. Forever. Your kids will be pulled into a foreign combat zone with a country of 1 billion plus people with nuclear weapons and next generation fighters. That's what the president's dealing with right now. That's what he's dealing with. And we've got a bunch of dipshits inside the administration leaking stories about a CIA raid that even the DNI saying didn't happen. So where did it come from? Folks, I say this yesterday because, and I'm just going to tell you right now, everyone's welcome in my chat. Nobody pushed harder. And believe me, the history books will document all of this. Your dopey opinion, if you're one of these like haters out there who just doesn't know shit about anything, when these people like you just hate the Jews, so that's what you do, use that as a proxy for attacks on me and others who call that stuff out. The history books are going to be clear on this. Nobody pushed harder and more aggressively on a lot of what happened with this COVID malfeasance than me and Kash Patel. Nobody. Anyone telling you otherwise is totally full of shit. We were very aggressive. You already saw what's going on with an active criminal investigation. You saw the results where I'm just going to leave it because I don't want to contaminate the process. But there is a process. These investigations have been going on for a long time. Why would you wait for the president to go overseas to China when he's negotiating the future of the globe to push one of your people from the DNI's DIG, Directors Initiative Group, into a hearing? And listen, Rand Paul and Ron Johnson can do what they want. They're in the legislative branch. I have no problem with the information and definitely no problem with the transparency. I only have a problem with the timing. The president's overseas in China. And then just hours later, a story thinks that the CIA raided the DNI. Do you have any idea what the president's team must be thinking right now in China? Now you did this? Ladies and gentlemen, there is an active criminal case right now about this. Has anybody thought this? I can't understand this is where I'm like, you can't win with some of these people, the doomers and the we hate the Jews people. You just can't. On one hand, they're like, I can't believe nothing's happening. Then you have arrests and indictments that are happening, and they're like, I can't believe that's happening. We want to slow down what's happening by holding a hearing while the president's in China. I'm not telling you there are armed, but what if there are cooperators out there who are now watching all this stuff and are now getting spooked? Has anybody thought about this? The DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, and that office, you got to get control, man. It's not about you. You're not a legislator. You're not a judge. You're not in a separate branch of government. Congress wants to hold hearings. That is their purview. The Senate wants to hold hearings. That's their purview. We have separate and equal branches of government.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause that there. I'm 20 minutes into this 1 hour and 35-minute video. This video will be included in my daily news wrap-up, so you'll get to see more of this. And yeah, the thing is, he used some pretty harsh language there. He grew up in the Bronx, and that was, everyday language there, from what I understand. But I can see how he can get frustrated because he's gone over this again and again and again, and how it takes time. I've talked about this too, how it takes time for these processes if you're going to do them correctly, dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's, it takes time. Okay? So these people that get impatient, I get impatient too, but I try not to go out and start pointing fingers and saying this person didn't do it and that person didn't do it. I think there's a lot of people that's trying to do the right thing, and there's a lot of people that's trying to, throw a monkey wrench into the works. But I think it'll work out. It's just going to take time. I don't know that Donald Trump's 4 years, 2.5 more years, is going to be enough to finish it. We'll need to get somebody in there that is willing to continue forward with the steps that he's taking now. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Let me click on the Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from Dan Bongino, the Dan Bongino Show. I am following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Alrighty, let's jump back here and doing a little. Oh, hi, LNC. She just joined us. Yep. Susie Polls 2016. He's actually from Queens. Okay, sorry, LNC. Like Trump. Okay. All right, let's slide down here and see what Doug in Exile has to say in Trump massacres E. Jean Carroll's $83 million payment. Wow, that sounds great. Let's check it out.
The mainstream media told you Trump was going to have to pay millions of dollars to E. Jean Carroll. 83 million. They were all cheering, yay, but today's decision just turned that on its head. E. Jean Carroll is officially walking away with L0, as we predicted. The story's not over yet. It's still coming, but we've got all the articles on this court case. It's not just ancient history. So this just now got decided. Let's see. This was yesterday when they walked out on this one. Welcome to the Happy Patriots, because I keep you posted on the news. Everyone's going like, what's going to happen with E. Jean Carroll last year? And sometimes it takes a while. It takes a year. It takes 2 years, but we finally got victory. Here's the headline over at Just the News with John Solomon reports appeals court blocks $83 million to E. Jean Carroll amid a Trump appeal. Let's keep going. This will be short. The Second Circuit Court of Appeals this week temporarily blocked an $83 million payment that President Donald Trump owed to E. Jean Carroll in her defamation case while the Supreme Court mulls intervening. So this could go all the way up to our buddies, Clarence Thomas, Roberts, Alito, Kavanaugh. The court order granted Trump a request for a stay, provided he increased his bond by nearly $7.5 million. So he had to put aside $7.5 million just in case. E. Jean Carroll in 2019 accused Trump of ing her in a Bergdorf Goodman's dressing room sometime in the 90s. That's quite a spread of time. Somewhere in the 90s, he attacked me. She brought separate legal claims for a defamation over his denials while in office and after leaving. She secured a jury verdict and award of damages in both cases, the jury being all Biden supporters, and the judge, Biden, Obama, all these Democrats, just loaded up with the most unfair possible ground that Trump could ever go before. We're going to hear from Alina Habba in a minute, too. Trump still denies her claims and has challenged both decisions. It remains unclear whether the Supreme Court will decide to intervene on the matter. Now, I'm not the only one who had hope that E. Jean Carroll wouldn't get paid a dime. You know who else predicted it? And I always like this because Alina Habba's kind of been out of the news recently, but she really called it back then. Here she is on a podcast saying E. Jean Carroll's going to get L0. Watch this.
Most people think of rape as being sexy.
What?
No, watch him think of the fantasies.
I just want to say, all of this stuff that she's saying, Alina Habba tried to bring into the court case, and the judge wouldn't allow her to bring this stuff in.
Take a quick break.
Quick break.
I don't want to be at work today.
That's my favorite part.
By the way, that was my entire defense.
And they wouldn't let you play it.
I was not allowed to play it.
By the way, this is my favorite part. Look what she says to him. Go ahead,
Okay,
Rob.
she was not allowed to play that. They constricted her evidence so much that, of course, she was going to lose the case.
Watch
Going to take a quick break. We're
watch
stick
what
around.
she
We'll
says.
talk more on the other side.
Fascinating.
You're fascinating to talk to.
She said that to me.
Jesus.
She said that to me. She said she
Bro,
liked talking to me.
she's Alina, how much of the 83 million is she going to see?
Zero.
Zero. There she is. She predicted it. How much of the 83 million is she going to see? She predicted zero. Correctly, she was right. All of mainstream media was wrong.
Zero. And then I'm going to sue for attorney's fees.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Oh, yeah.
So she can't go shopping?
No.
You mean she can't take
She
Rachel
can't
out
buy.
shopping?
She can't buy her France. Oh, I watched that.
How
I
disappointing.
said, Reid Hoffman, I hope you're watching. DNC, I hope you're watching. This is the person. This
You
is the
picked.
person you picked.
Yeah.
I couldn't talk about her cat's name. I couldn't talk about that. Yeah, that.
Yeah, all that stuff she can talk about. And Alina Habba predicted she would get zero, and she's correct. And now Alina Habba is predicting she's going to countersue for attorney fees, so she'll end up having to pay for Alina Habba. E. Jean Carroll will. If Trump doesn't have to pay anything, it gets much worse for E. Jean Carroll. Here's the AP with a little more detail on that. Associated Press says appeals court spares Trump from paying $83 million defamation award to E. Jean Carroll. For now, it says. So we're not fully out of the woods yet. New York, Associated Press, President Donald Trump won't pay the $83 million defamation award to a longtime advice columnist until the U.S. Supreme Court gets a chance to review the case or reject an appeal. Now, I believe Trump's going to win that at the Supreme Court when they see how unfair that case was, according to a court entry yesterday. The Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals agreed to a request by one of Trump's lawyers that it let the president delay the payment to E. Jean Carroll, though it required that Trump post a $7.4 million bond, big deal, to cover any additional interest costs, a request Carroll's attorney had made. The appeals court last month refused Trump's request for a rare meeting of the full Second Circuit to hear an appeal of the three-judge panel's affirmance of the January 24th verdict. Afterward, Trump attorney Justin Smith asked the Second Circuit to stay the effect of its decision, upholding the award so that Trump would not be forced to pay the judgment before the high court had a chance to consider his appeal. Then they'd have to ask her for all that money back. So, of course, that makes sense. Smith said last week there was a fair prospect that the Supreme Court will find favor of Trump, agreeing with Alina Habba, who has called Carroll's claims first made publicly in the 2019 that she was attacked by Trump in a Manhattan luxury department store dressing room in the spring of 96, somewhere around the spring of 96, a made-up scam. The $83 million award to Carroll, 82, getting long in the tooth. I don't know when she's going to spend that money, came from a jury that she can buy a whole lot of Werther's Originals candy with that money. Came from a jury that briefly heard Trump testify and observed his animated behavior for several days. In upholding the verdict, the Second Circuit panel wrote last September that Trump continued his attacks against Carroll. By the way, these are not attacks. To call her a lunatic is not an attack. That's free speech. That's an opinion against Carroll for at least 5 years, making them, quote, more extreme and frequent as the trial approached. And E. Jean Carroll, we already showed, she only made money on this. That is, she had no career before Trump drew attention to her through his insults. She made money on it. Quote, he also continued these same attacks during the trial itself, the appeals court said. By the way, this is just him having free speech. In one such statement, issued 2 days into the trial, Trump proclaimed that he would continue to defame Carroll 1,000 times, unquote. Well, just wait till if it goes to the Supreme Court, what he's going to say. The jury had been instructed to accept the findings of a jury that in May of 2023 awarded Carroll $5 million after concluding Trump sexually abused her in the department store and then defamed her after she published. Remember, that was when the judge said this is not a trial of if it happened or not. This is a trial now that it happened to decide penalty. Trump is challenging the $83 million award on several grounds, asserting absolute immunity as a president for comments he made while president. So that was the difference between the initial amount that she made of like $5 million, and then they racked up $83 million more on top of it because Trump made that as president. He disavowed knowing Carroll and attacked her motivations, saying they were politically driven or arose from a desire to promote her memoir. It was literally politically driven because they changed the statute of limitations. Reid Hoffman, the giant Democrat donor who'd been to Epstein Island number of times, used to work with Elon Musk, and Elon Musk said he was a creep. Reid Hoffman is the one who put this up, put Eugene Carroll up, and he is a giant Democrat operative. It is literally a political court case. Of course, it's just done for politics. It was an election year. This is how Democrats do it. The Supreme Court's going to see right through it. We predict he still doesn't pay a dime. But now we're the only ones covering this story, and now you have the truth. Thanks for watching. Give us a subscribe if you want only the news you need to know. More to come from Doug in Exile.
Okay. Let me get back here and show you this video does come from Doug in Exile. I am subscribed to his YouTube channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here, and we got some chatting going on between LNC and Uncloudy. And Uncloudy, I don't know that you were on when this, but I did give you a comment of the day where you talked about the judges and comparing those to bartenders and the liability associated with that. And Debbie BS gave you a kudo on that very good point, Uncloudy, which it was. Okay, but let's slide down here, move on to Benny Johnson. Hidden camera inside White House catches staff trying to sabotage president. Okay, remember, I just talked about, after Dan Bongino, about how if you're going to do things right, it's going to take time. Okay, now this decision that came down today is a decision based on something that happened back in January of 24. That's over 2 years. 2 years and four or 5 months. Okay? So that decision in January, it took that period of time for another decision, 2 years. So, that was before the election in 2024. And a lot of people are running around with their heads blowing up, wondering why nothing's happening. Well, you just saw something that happened there that's been going on for almost 2.5 years. Trump hasn't been in office 2.5 years. He's only been in office a year and not even a half. Okay? So I know it's easy to get impatient, but you're just going to have to trust the flow and let it go. But let's see what Benny Johnson has to say about these hidden cameras. Here, more sabotage, even in the White House staff. Amazing. Let's see what this is all about. Traitor exposed.
I worked and lived in D.C. for 15 years, and let me tell you the biggest takeaway, that everyone is functioning.
By the way, I think Benny is doing this at home because you can hear kids in the background talking, laughing, whatever.
Functionally retarded.
Kind of like what I do. I do it at home.
They're so stupid in that city. It is a city not made up of smart people. It is made up of the dumbest people. There are some really smart people in San Francisco. There are some really smart people in Silicon Valley. There's some smart people in Manhattan, certainly smart people in Florida and Miami, building things, making and creating things. There's no smart people in DC. DC is where failures goes. It's like Hollywood for ugly people. A lot of people say that, but it's really Hollywood for ugly and dumb people. I think that actually Selena Gomez and Rachel Ziegler are smarter than your average Hill staffer. It's creepy, it's craven, it's gluttonous, and it's filled with people that just have this inflated sense of how powerful they are. And that's where they go. They are attracted to DC like flies to Shisa because they want the power. They're the rejects in high school. They're people who didn't ever have power in any other time in their life, so they think that by slithering their way through a bureaucracy, they can get it. And then they'll betray everyone on their way because they have no moral compunction, that they aren't there for anything other than the bloodlust of power. So as soon as they get power, they'll try and betray the people who gave it to them. It's really sick. And it's happening right now. Live, James O'Keefe has caught, once again, a White House staffer in a sting trashing Trump. This is really bad. White House employee placed on leave after O'Keefe Media Group busts him, saying we have to get rid of Trump. Oh, wow. So Benjamin Elliston is someone who worked in the executive office of the president. And this is, by the way, a very important position. He is the senior budget analyst and fund manager in the executive office of the president. That's a real big boy job and something that is very serious. And he says, we got to get rid of Trump. Seriously, he's a mess. He's effing it up for everybody. We've got to get rid of him. Very bad. Let's go ahead and watch the tape because James O'Keefe did exactly what he always does. Just sets up on a Tinder date, some chick who's like a 5 or a 6. And in DC, that's like a 9 or a 10. And then goes out with these absolute and total chodes who decide to spill their guts and become traitors on camera. Here's the opening of the date where he announces who he is and then criticizes Trump.
I brought you something.
You brought me something? No way. Oh my God. That's
it's
great.
It's for real, right?
It's for real.
Benjamin Elliston is a senior budget analyst and funding manager for the White House. He has been in this role since 2024, which involves overseeing and approving budget funding for various proposals at the White House.
I can't believe this is real.
Really?
I have to touch it. I have to touch it. Give me your hands.
Okay.
I want to tell you why. There is so many fake people online.
I know.
Oh my God, there's so many fake profiles.
It's sad.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's so refreshing.
Yeah. So what's your job title again?
Budget analyst and funds analyst.
And you're at the what office again?
Executive office of the president.
Wow. Okay.
I like it. I like the prestige.
The senior budget official oversees funding and budget management for projects such as the White House ballroom renovation, and goes on to divulge that the funding for the ballroom has been exclusively coming from private donors, which Elliston deems to be problematic and a possible source of corruption.
All that renovation, we oversees all of that stuff.
Oh, really? Do you know how much money that costs?
I think it's something like $300-400 million now. And he's doing more than what he told us initially. Like before it was just a ballroom, but now
Yeah, that's what I saw. And it's
secret
like everything.
basement for military
Oh my God, really?
operations and stuff. So he claims it's been done. It's been built, been sponsored by all private donations. No one knows where the money is coming from. So, and people are just opening up their wallet. Just
You guys don't even know where the money comes from? That's like kind of concerning.
It's more than concerning. Like me as a government employee, right? The most I can accept as a gift, any government employee, is like it's $25. Well, you just accept, and he's a government employee too, so it doesn't really matter.
Elliston then went on to say that Donald Trump has to be gotten rid of, that he's effing everything up. Trump's sober and he's crazy, and that he's practicing subversion of his commander-in-chief. Totally evil. There you go.
We have to get rid of Trump. Seriously. He's a mess. He's fucking it up for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. You gotta get rid of him. Honestly.
Yeah.
With him at the top, it's next to impossible to do anything.
Uh-huh.
He's a madman. Literally. He's invincible. Nothing can stop him. And that's dangerous. The way his decisions are so erratic, you would think he drinks. He doesn't drink. And that's what makes it so dangerous, that someone could be of sound mind and body, totally coherent, could just be so reckless in their decision making.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Wow.
As Benjamin proceeds to reiterate over and over that Trump should never be president, saying ominous things like, "This is where it stops," the undercover journalist asked Benjamin whether his co-workers at the White House are aware that he holds so much hatred towards the president. And he replies, no, they can't know.
For some reason, they feel like America was getting too diverse, too liberal. Like white man is being under attack and being suppressed, and threaten to be a minority. So all these programmers doing that, so they want to stop it. Never be president.
That is insane.
For me, it's that simple.
That's insane.
That's where it stops.
Yeah.
So never.
No. Do people know that how you feel about the president? No.
The reason for this publication is to show you the level of disdain that many in the White House currently hold against their commander-in-chief. And if what Trump's own advisor, Maxim Lott, says is true, that Trump's subordinates often have the power to make decisions for him.
In theory, everything should sort of come from the president.
Yeah.
But it might come from the level below him where they're like, I think I know the president well enough to say what he would say on this.
Then we find it highly concerning that people like Benjamin should be in such a position to make decisions on behalf of the Trump administration while holding such a hostile perspective towards those that he is supposed to be serving. It begs the question, how secure are the Trump administration's goals when such high-level officials are actively motivated against Trump's agenda?
Hello.
Hey, is this Benji?
Speaking.
I'd like to get your comment. You said, quote, "We've got to get rid of Trump." What are you planning on doing to get rid of the president? That's your quote.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
We have to get rid of Trump. Seriously.
You said, quote, "We've got to get rid of Trump. He's dangerous. That's where it stops." What did you mean by that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
We also reached out to Maxim Lott. He said, quote, "I went out with an individual I thought was a genuine person, but it goes to show how insidious politics in the city can be. Nothing I said was contradictory of this administration. I remain fully committed in helping carry out its agenda."
That's not good. We have to get rid of him. He's invincible. Nothing can stop him. That's very dangerous. He needs to be fired immediately. Subversion. Somebody's getting fired. Are they getting fired? I sure hope so. Let's go ahead and see. White House responds to O'Keefe report for Elliston. The individual has been placed on administrative leave while a conduct review and investigation. He has no direct access to the president or senior staff, does not work on the White House campus. Such views expressed by the individual are not reflective of the patriots who admirably served in the administration. Yikes. Ladies and gentlemen. They also were able to get another White House confession. Goodness gracious. President Trump's special assistant in the White House Domestic Policy Council advisors makes decisions based on what he feels is a good idea. There's no cost benefit. Reveals White House independently shaped domestic policy based on their own interpretation of what Trump would want as executive office. A budget manager spills, "We have to get rid of Trump." Ugh. What a bunch of cretins. The archetypical DC nihilist and narcissist who believes in nothing but themselves, who will hate the people who won the election, will act to subvert the power inside of the actual offices in which they serve. There is no loyalty. President Trump is right. And these people are scum. And we...
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause that there. Let me click on the Rumble link and show you that this video does come from Benny Johnson. It's the video I shared with you. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. So, you know, he said we've got to get rid of him. And that's a good question that was asked by James O'Keefe. What did you mean by that? We've got to get rid of him. Now, you would, you know, how he's not going to run for re-election. I know he jokes a lot about that, just to piss off the mainstream media and the Democrats. But how do you mean get rid of him? Now you would, you know, a normal person would say, "I can't wait till his term is over, so he'll be out of this office." Nope, we've got to get rid of him. Okay. So, you know, of course, you talk to this lady too. Talk to this lady about it. I wonder who else he could have talked to about it, and who else would, you know, spread this information, and then some lunatic with a gun tries to raid the White House Correspondents' Dinner. You know, that's how this shit starts. Is people like this saying we've got to get rid of him when he's going to be gone in 2.5 years anyway, because his term will be over. Utterly amazing. All right, let's jump back here. And we've got some good chats going, folks. Jump in there. Don't be bashful. All right, Wendy Bell Radio. Government gangsters. Yes, absolutely. I kind of get where she's coming from here. Let's take a listen to this.
Amen. We're going to get to this China visit. We're working on a 12-hour delay with this delegation with President Trump and Eric Trump and Laura and Marco Rubio and Scott Bessent and everybody and his brother from like the top 30 AI tech companies out there. It's crazy. It's going to be a great story, and we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of it in just a minute. But I want to tell you about something that I think is a far bigger issue, because if President Trump is not in charge of what's going on in this country, then who is? If what this president says and the executive orders he issues, which of course our stupid Senate can't figure out and ratify anything that he does, because John Thune needs to be replaced, and that's going to obviously have to come to a head. But if this president isn't the guy who's calling the shots, who is? What is that blob? We keep asking ourselves, what is that? Because this story came out overnight. I was up very early in the morning and it hit my inbox, and I was like, So, did you hear that during the government shutdown, apparently unknown people within the CIA raided Tulsi Gabbard's director of national intelligence offices? And they went in at night and they took some stuff. Now, going in at night during a government shutdown raises a lot of eyebrows. Why not go in during the day? Because you don't want anybody to see what you're doing. And you don't want them to know what you're taking. And that's what happened. And we learned about it this morning when Anna Paulina Luna, last night on Katie Pavlich's show on News Nation, it was almost like a sort of afterthought. She said the CIA raided Tulsi Gabbard's office at the Department of National Intelligence, and they seized all these boxes of evidence, and it was specific boxes of evidence. It was evidence about the JFK assassination. It was evidence about the CIA's mind control operation, MK Ultra. It was those particular story threads that they went into Tulsi Gabbard's office and stole, or seized, if one might say. At first, she said it was a raid, and that caught my attention. Here's what Anna Paulina Luna said that piqued my ears.
You also have some news coming out of the CIA that you'd like to share.
Yeah, so we were actually just notified that the CIA went in and took documents out of ODNI, multiple boxes pertaining to the JFK files as well as MK Ultra. The reason why this is troubling is there was an executive order that the president had directed the full declassification of JFK, but then also to the MK Ultra files. The CIA famously has said that, all documents were released and other documents had been destroyed. So these are allegedly those documents that apparently never existed. And so very troubling. I did just talk to Chairman Comer, and we are sending in the next hour or so a preservation of documents request to the CIA. I have calls into the White House to the director of the CIA himself. And so obviously, as this develops, we'll keep everyone up to date. But strange times we're living in.
Okay, so director of the CIA, who is it? It's John Ratcliffe. Do you think in about a year and a couple months since this president took office again that John Ratcliffe knows everything that's going on any more than Kash Patel knows what's going on with the FBI? Do you believe that there are agents all over the Department of Justice in whatever iteration or alphabet agency they're a part of, that are a part of the deep state, that are doing everything they can to put down spike strips and to plan to land mines under the road so anything Donald Trump or this administration does goes, because I do. And we heard John Brennan say it this week. But I want to get to Anna Paulina Luna's second message. So not only has she said, look, Tulsi Gabbard's about to drop this classified stuff. She's about to declassify it. She's in the process of doing it. This is an order by the president. Declassified. The American people want transparency. I'm listening to them. Give them what they want. And then these documents are seized in what Anna Paulina Luna is calling a raid. And then she gets pissed. Listen.
This is not a threat. This is going to happen. If those files are not returned within the next 24 hours, you will be called. Your faces will be made public in front of the entire American people. All of Congress will see it, and we will hold you accountable for going against a direct executive order by the president and interfering with a congressional investigation. So return the files. Do not destroy documents. You will get a preservation of documents notice for Congress, and any member of the CIA that engages in undermining this investigation will be held criminally accountable. And I'm also waiting for a call back from Todd Blanche, the acting attorney general. We are not playing games with you. Return the documents.
I'm not so sure Anna Paulina Luna realizes this is way bigger than her. This is bigger than the director of the CIA or the FBI director. This is bigger than the president of the United States. There is some blob entity that believes it operates above and beyond the parameters of the law. Ladies and gentlemen, no one is above the law. Oh, really? Well, what the hell are you doing? Okay, so this brings me back to that idea that we experienced on Monday when we flushed out, or maybe it was Tuesday, when we heard Nicole Wallace ask Hack McHackmore, the king of blowhardy, a former CIA director, John Brennan, a very specific question about the deep state. What's the deep state doing to stop Trump's DOJ from uncovering the grand conspiracy? This is how she said it, but that's what I heard. Listen.
Trump says these people are dirty. Todd Blanche says we're lucky to have Trump involved in this. Kash Patel says, I have a bat phone into the Oval Office. He has succeeded largely in turning DOJ and the FBI into political arms of his political operation. What still exists in the system to slow that down?
Still exists in the system for Trump, Kash Patel, John Radcliffe, or anybody else who doesn't suck to find out how much we do. Right? That's the question, to which John Brennan, who looks like he's seen a ghost, he says, you know what, Nicole, don't you worry your pretty little head about it. We won't let this DOJ uncover our crimes. We got a bunch of deep state operatives still employed by the department who will protect us. A legion of them, remember?
There's still a legion of professionals in the law enforcement environment, the Department of Justice, as well as the CIA and other places, the ones who are refusing to follow politically motivated prosecutions, those who are refusing to support any type of political activities on the part of the Trump administration that are inconsistent with the authorities, the responsibilities of the intelligence community, law enforcement community, and Department of Justice.
We have a legion, Nicole. Don't you worry about it. And the CIA dude who stepped out yesterday to blow the whistle, don't you worry about him. We've got ways to deal with that kind of guy. Now, Katie Pavlich over at News Nation, after breaking this story with Anna Paulina Luna, she posts on her Twitter page, I've been following it. She's like, says this. She says, we've since learned that the documents were not taken today. It was not a raid on the Department of National Intelligence in Gabbard's office, but people from the CIA took documents related to the JFK assassination and MK Ultra from the National Reconnaissance Office last year in the middle of the night during the government shutdown and have not returned those documents to the office of the Director of National Intelligence. And because the CIA is withholding these documents, they cannot be declassified and scanned for public release. The CIA doesn't think they answer to anyone. And it is quite unlikely that CIA Director John Ratcliffe knew anything about it. What in the Sam Hill is going on? If you jaywalk, there's some, blue-haired nutcase yelling in your face, right? But if you're a deep state operative who's got ties to John Brennan, you can do whatever you want. We don't want everybody to know about that. Is that because the CIA took out JFK? Of course. Duh. when we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program. The CIA taking documents from the ODNI is kind of like the FBI raiding Mar-a-Lago. When a corrupt government can break down the doors of a former president's home and rifle through his stuff, you live in a banana republic, folks. Welcome to it.
All right. Well, let's take a listen to that. Yeah, good comments there in the chat. So did she kind of clear that up? That, well, you know, she got an update by reading her her post that, well, it wasn't really CIA raiding Tulsi Gabbard's office. But, you know, who knows what the real story is. But, you know, I think there's something goofy going on there.
I recommend, yes, I take your, this
Okay.
is testimonial there.
Ho, 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 it's magic, you know.
I remember the day because it was my anniversary when the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago, and it just so happened that the New York Times and CNN were on the scene before even the authorities. It was just so weird how that worked out. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, August 22nd, my anniversary. I'm watching this. And it's that nighttime video. You've seen it a bazillion, gillion times. It's the choppers and the lights coming down, and all you can see the lights of the authorities walking in to a former president of the United States private residence, Mar-a-Lago. And I remember thinking, whoa. I thought launching a virus, accidentally or not, and then presenting to the world the antidote, the fix, which was really the deadly elixir, right, was bad. But if they can go and invade the private walls of a former president and rifle through all of his belongings and stage photographs to create the illusion of a storyline, they're desperate for you to believe that Donald Trump thought he was above the law. And he took all these classified documents and we're coming to get him. Now, they were looking for the damn binder. They were looking for exactly what you're about to hear Maria Bartiromo over at Fox last October hold up in her hands as she says to Devin Nunes, former congressman and the chairman of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board. She holds up what they were looking for at Mar-a-Lago. She says, this is it, right? The declassified intelligence community assessment cooked up by Hillary and Obama and Brennan and Clapper and Comey. Oh, seashells in the sand. And Adam Schiff, that complete jerk, and all the others to frame Donald Trump in 2016 in an effort to overthrow the United States government. I can't even believe that those words come out of my mouth and that they are accurate. But I want you to hear Maria Bartiromo holding it up and being like, this is what they raided the Mar-a-Lago location for, correct? Listen.
I'm going to try to get out as much of this information and get it declassified as possible.
So you believe that they raided Mar-a-Lago because they were looking for this? They were looking for the intelligence community assessment, your report on Russia's influence campaign targeting the 2016 presidential election. That's why they raided Mar-a-Lago.
I believe it had to be one of the things that they were looking for. Because look, that report is pretty damning. If people take the time to read it, it's 45 pages. It spent, we had a dedicated team that spent nearly 2 years down at the CIA looking through this. It was blocked from getting out. And the reason that report is so important, right? That's, let's just dumb it down. Simply put, we went through every single piece of intelligence that existed. And if anything, it was clear that if Putin was going to do anything, he probably wanted Hillary Clinton to win. But in fact, if you just apply a little common sense to it, the fact is that nobody around the world thought that President Trump was going to win in 2016. Same with Vladimir Putin. He didn't either. And so when you go through that was the intelligence. Every piece of intelligence that existed we went through it. It's in that report. And what do we know? What do we, after all this, after all, Trump and Russia and collusion, the two people that didn't collude? Trump and Russia.
Exactly. I love that Brock is fact checking me in real time. He's remembering my anniversary memories. And he's like, yeah, you're wrong. It was August 8th, not the 22nd. I'm like, dang it. What Devin Nunes is telling you right now is so ridiculously mind boggling. And it's like we gobble up these audio sound bites like it's just popcorn. It's no big deal. What he's telling you is Donald Trump had the goods. He knew what they did. He has proof of what they did. He's got all of their digits. They're all implicated, and it's all ultimately it's got to come out. But don't ever forget that these people didn't want you to choose who you wanted. These people who sit in their Capitol Hill offices or even hold gavels of power, and they tell you that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, that what's going on in the South with the redistricting is taking away people's right to vote. People are being disenfranchised. Well, you know what? What the hell did they do to you? They tried to steal your vote. They fiddled with the machines. They lied to you endlessly about this man. And what did you do? You saw through it all. And you have been unwavering. And they hate you for it. See, Republicans are learning that it's not just enough to have power. You've got to use the power. And they're using it. Democrats are freaking terrified. And I love it because they have trampled on every single tenet of what it means, what it did to the founding fathers to be a citizen of these United States of America. And these people believe that they are above the law.
Yep.
When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, let's talk about the CIA whistleblower from yesterday. How big a deal was it that this fellow stepped forward? Is it the tip of the iceberg? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
All right, I'm going to pause that there, and it probably is a tip of the iceberg. I've heard some of that, and it's utterly amazing, and you will hear that too if you tune into my daily news wrap-up, because I will include this video of Wendy Bell's in that. But it may be the tip of the iceberg, but there may be years before anything actually moves on it. And here again, I want to say that the statute of limitations, they're talking 5 years on some of this stuff. So a lot of the stuff that happened back in 2016, I mean, that's, in 2020, that's past the statute of limitations. Now, I thought the statute of limitations was 7 years. And correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe in Washington, D.C., it's only 5 years, so they can screw around and, time will run out with the legal system before anything happens. But I didn't. Here again, I thought the statute of limitations, you didn't have to bring somebody to court within that 5 or 7 years. You actually had to acknowledge, okay, there's an investigation going on. And if it takes you 2 more years or 3 more years to find out what's going on, that kind of destroys this 5-year limit or 7-year limit, because you have found out information that points to a particular person that something they did was illegal. I'm not a lawyer, so, that may not be true. That's all that I've heard. But at any rate, let me click on the Rumble link and show you that this video does come from Wendy Bell Radio. I'm following her channel. I've given her a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here. And we've got some great chats going on. Thank you, guys. This is good stuff. All right, let me copy these, because, as I say, I like the chats to be a part of this video. It is a part of this video. All right. And when the live stream is over, the chats just kind of vaporize. So let me go ahead and click the comment button. Boom. There it is. There it is. Okay, and let me remind you that these videos that I've shared with you are videos that come directly from the producers. I've got the links to the videos themselves in the description box, as well as the links to the producer's channel if you want to go check out more information that they may have. And these videos that I've shared with you are videos that I've posted here on Mertech.com, where I have over 40 no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth information. Your one-stop shop for information that you're not going to get on the mainstream media. I'd like to be able to share all of it with you. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to do so, and that's why I've put together my Mertech Daily News Wrap-Up playlist. It says I have 20 videos in here, and probably about 10 or 11 hours or more of great information from Wendy Bell and Dan Bongino, Robert Gouveia, We the People News, McWater's Effect, On the Fringe, Redacted News, And We Know, X22 Report. Man, a ton of great stuff. All right. But before we move on, I do want to share some information here with you from MeWe. Okay?
Ever feel like the phone is listening to everything you say? That's because big tech treats every user's life like a corporate paycheck. It's time to stop being the product. Millions are making the move to MeWe, a safe space for communities to share their real opinions and join their tribe.
It's time to take back control of the time you spend online. On MeWe, you are not the product. MeWe puts your privacy first. It's the safe space we've been waiting for. No creepy tracking and no manipulated feeds. It's just a place for actual communities to share real opinions and find their tribe without a bot breathing down their neck.
If you want to connect with new people and communities, check out MeWe, the safe space where the world meets.
All right, there you have it. Now, you can go ahead and take a break right now. Grab a cup of coffee and a donut, or a sandwich and a soft drink, or a beer, or maybe some wine and some cheese, and meet me back here in about 15 or 20 minutes to get this set up in Rumble Studio, and we'll have a great time listening to some more no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth that you're not going to get from the lying legacy media and deep state swamp. But I do want to thank you for being here with me tonight. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later. Thanks again, and may God bless.